Welcome back to World of Immersion. Today we are going to be ranking the top 25 roller coasters that we have ridden across the world. We do one of these every year, so make sure to check out last year's ranking to see how it differs from this year. We have ridden many new rides this year, so our list has definitely gone a lot more in depth. Let us know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with our ranking. Let us know if your number one is the same as our number one, or if you know other rides that we haven't ridden that you think are better. But with that being said, let's get right into the video, starting off with number 25. Now, just making the list, taking the number 25 spot, we have Wonder Woman Flight of Courage at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This RMC single rail Raptor coaster is really phenomenal. It was new for 2022, so it is nice and brand new. It is a ton of fun and we really enjoy it. It's got some great elements with awesome airtime and great inversions. It has fallen a bit in our rankings because it's gotten a little bit of a rattle, but it still is a great coaster. Taking the number 24 spot with the same model, we have Railblazer at California's Great America. It's a shame that this park is closing because this was definitely a phenomenal theme park. This ride definitely being the best at that park. It's a great coaster, slightly better than Wonder Woman Flight of Courage, again with great airtime, great intensity. Ton of fun. Taking the number 23 spot over in Tokyo, Japan, we have Thunder Dolphin. This intimate hypercoaster is incredible. It is huge, almost a giga coaster standing at 265 feet. It goes through the city, around buildings, and it is a ton of fun. It's got some pretty good moments of airtime, although we will say it's lacking a bit, but overall it's still a great scenery and a really good and fun coaster. Taking the number 22 spot, we have another hyper, except this time it's B&M. We have Goliath at Six Flags over Georgia. Now this coaster is a ton of fun. B&M hypers are always great. They provide some awesome airtime and great layouts that are long and very smooth. And we really enjoyed this ride. It's definitely one of our favorite B&M hypers that we've been on. Taking the number 21 spot from the same manufacturer, we have Talon at Dorney Park. This B&M invert is our personal number one invert in the world. It is a ton of fun. Now, keep in mind, we haven't ridden that many inverts, but this one is definitely the best of what we've done. It's got great intensity. It feels like a larger version of Batman the Ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain with these low to the ground quick inversions that just feel really intense and a ton of fun. Taking the number 20 spot, continuing the B&M chain, we have Nitro over at Six Flags Great Adventure. Now this B&M hyper is so much fun. It's got some incredible moments of airtime. Those hills are great. The turnaround is very intense. You sometimes gray out on that. And again, like most B&M hypers, it is very smooth and a very long ride. Taking the number 19 spot, we have Storm Runner over at Hershey Park. This intimate rocket coaster is a ton of fun. It's one of the few hydraulic launches remaining. It is a really punchy and intense launch, with launching from 0 to 70 miles an hour in 2 seconds. That's pretty intense. It then has some great elements that follow that, making it a ton of fun. The restraints are not incredible, but they are definitely manageable because the rest of the ride makes up for it. Taking the number 18 spot over at our home park, Six Flags Magic Mountain, we have Tatsu. This B&M flying coaster is like no other. It is extremely tall and is very high up there on the mountain, so that drop is really scary. It's super smooth. It's got some great elements. It really feels like you're flying through the forest, and we really love this coaster. The pretzel loop is very intense, one of the best parts of the ride, and overall it's just an incredible coaster. Taking the number 17 spot, we have Top Thrill Dragster, or at least the old Top Thrill Dragster that we rode. The hydraulic launch was out of this world intense. Going 120 miles an hour in 4 seconds is crazy, and then going up that 420-foot tall hill is absolutely insane. It's just a phenomenal roller coaster, incredibly scary, and overall just a ton of fun, very thrilling. It's a shame that they got rid of the hydraulic launch, but we are very excited to see how the new LSM swing launch will be. Taking the number 16 spot, also at Cedar Point, is Millennium Force. This intimate giga coaster is a ton of fun. People say that this ride is overrated, but in our opinion, it has gotten so overrated to the point where it's underrated. This coaster is still a ton of fun. You are 305 feet in the air, going almost 90 miles an hour. Those hills provide some really good airtime. Intamin's T-bar restraints are out of this world amazing. And it's still a really fun roller coaster that definitely gets overlooked in the coaster enthusiast community. Taking the number 15 spot, staying at Cedar Point, is Magnum XL 200. This ride is out of control. It has some of the most intense airtime we've experienced on a coaster. For its age, it's incredibly smooth. And the strengths feel like they're not even there, which is a ton of fun, especially on those really sharp hills at the end. This roller coaster also has some great history, which adds to it. Taking the number 14 spot, we have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, the roller coaster with the longest name. Now, this ride is so much fun. It has some of the most incredible theming we've ever seen on a roller coaster. The launches are really fun. It's very, very smooth. It's a really long ride for it being a launched coaster. And while it is a family coaster, it still packs a little bit of a thrilling punch. And we just absolutely love this coaster. Taking the number 13 spot, this is definitely not a family coaster. We have X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This roller coaster is out of control. It is just insane. You never know which way you're facing or which direction you're going. It's just so much fun. It's crazy intense, definitely one of the most intense coasters we have been on, and it's just out of this world great. It is so much fun. We really, really love it. And it's definitely one of the best at Six Flags Magic Mountain and one of the best in all of California. Taking the number 12 spot, we have the Intamin Winged Hyper Coaster Sky Rush. Speaking of intense, this coaster is also crazy intense. We recently rewrote it this year in 2023, and it actually didn't hurt our thighs as much as we remembered. If you actually go and hold up the restraint during the ride, it really, really does not hurt. And those airtime hills are crazy intense when you're pulling around -2 G-forces. That is pretty crazy. And it is very, very smooth because it's Intamin. Overall, just a really intense and fun coaster that we really enjoy. Taking the number 11 spot, also by the manufacturer Intamin, over at Cedar Point, we have Maverick. Now, this launched Blitz coaster is so much fun. Talk about intensity, you've got it with this. It's got some great whippy turns and incredible inversions. The second launch especially is a ton of fun. That first drop is crazy. Everything about this ride is just great. It's really long, and overall it's just a ton of fun. Our one setback, again, with a lot of rides that have these restraints are the restraints. They're a little bit uncomfortable, but it's okay because the ride makes up for it. Now we are entering the top 10, and starting off our top 10 list of coasters in the world, we have Twisted Colossus over at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is our favorite at Magic Mountain and one of our favorites in California. It is so much fun. This RMC dueling racing coaster is so great. It is such a long coaster that really packs an incredible punch. It's got great airtime, great inversions, and great elements with the other cart that's racing against you. It's overall just a really well put together coaster. Taking the number 9 spot over at Universal Studios Japan, we have Flying Dinosaur. This flying B&M coaster is one of, if not the most intense roller coasters we have ever been on in our lives. That very, very steep headfirst drop into the back-to-back-to-back pretzel loops is an experience that you cannot explain. It is just intense moment after intense moment, and then after that you whip into a helix, into inversions, and it is just so much fun and out of control. This ride is genuinely one of a kind, and there's no other flying coasters that are really like this. It really, really takes the flying model and tests its limits, which we really enjoyed. And overall, it's just a phenomenal coaster. Now, taking the number 8 spot, we have our personal favorite in the entire state of California, and that is Ghost Rider. This CCI turned GCI wooden coaster is genuinely an incredible experience. It is very, very smooth. It's got great airtime, and it is such a long layout. Every time we ride this, it just ranks higher and higher for us because it's just so much fun. It's a really well put together coaster. Everything flows well into each other. The elements work really well. And like I said before, it is incredibly smooth and just filled with airtime. It's definitely our go-to at Knott's Berry Farm, and really I wish that we could ride it more. We don't visit Knott's as much as Magic Mountain because we have Magic Mountain passes, but when we do go, it is definitely the number 1 coaster on our list to do. Now, taking the number 7 spot over in Virginia at King's Dominion, we have Twisted Timbers. This new generation RMC coaster is incredible. Now, it is a very small coaster, but it really packs a punch for its size. Now, size does not matter with this one. Now, if you are scared of left turns, then you should definitely ride this because this roller coaster only turns right, and it's kind of funny because you really feel it on the ride. But switching away from that, this coaster is just absolutely phenomenal. The airtime is incredible. It's very intense. Lots of ejector moments. Those hills are just back to back to back, and it is crazy. The inversions are also fun. The drop is great. The hang time that you get. Now, the back seat is always fun for airtime, but honestly, the front seat is great on this too because the hang time that you get on that drop. But overall, just a phenomenal RMC. RMCs are never bad, and this is definitely the case with this. It is just an incredible coaster. coaster. Taking the number 6 spot, also at King's Dominion, we have Intimidator 305, which is our favorite at that park. Now, this coaster just completely blew us away when we rode it. Talking about intensity, this definitely has it. That first turn, you are going to gray out, possibly even black out, which, you know, if you enjoy that, then great. If you don't, then this coaster might not be for you, but we definitely enjoy that because that is a ton of fun. Following that, you have some intense airtime hills that just completely shoot you out of your seat. It's just so much fun. We really, really love this coaster. It is a phenomenally designed roller coaster. The quick turns and hills really just add to its insane intensity. The one thing that we are not a huge fan of is the pretty intense trims that happen towards the half point of the ride, but other than that, it is just a phenomenal coaster, and it is huge. This thing is ginormous. It is 305 feet in the air, and you really feel that when you are up there. The speed is great. It is just overall such an incredible roller coaster. Now, taking the number 5 spot, we have our favorite wooden coaster in the world, and that is El Toro over at Six Flags Great Adventure. So we initially visited Six Flags Great Adventure in 2021, but unfortunately El Toro was closed. But when we revisited it in 2023 this year, it was open and we were super excited. This ride is just absolutely insane. The airtime is crazy. That drop is so incredibly steep. And following that, you have these two incredibly intense airtime hills where you are just shot out of your seats. We definitely were able to give ourselves some room with the restraint. The restraints are great, and so you just fly out of your seats on those, and it is just so much fun, out of control. Now, it definitely is a little bit rough at some points, but it honestly just kind of adds to the intensity of the ride. It's not rough to the point where it's unpleasant. It's rough to the point of like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Which is really something we love on roller coasters. It definitely takes in all of the great factors of other wooden coasters and puts it into this one. It's got great airtime. It's got great length. It's got great height. This roller coaster is very, very tall, almost 200 feet, and it's got great speed. And we really just enjoy it. It is a one-of-a-kind roller coaster. Now, taking the number 4 spot, we have the new for 2023 Wildcats Revenge. This new generation RMC coaster is out of this world amazing. We were completely blown away when we rode this. I was speechless after we got off the ride for the first time. It is unexplainable how incredible this experience was. The airtime is phenomenal. The intensity is great. The whippiness is fun. It is buttery smooth, partially having to do with the fact that it's brand new, but really you definitely feel the smoothness. There is no rattle. There's no buzz. There's no shaking. The elements flow really, really well into each other, and we really like the new generation carts. They're really fun. We were also able to give ourselves some room on the seats, so we got a ton of airtime, and it's just a really, really, really good coaster. Definitely the best over at Hershey Park. One of the best coasters we did on our trip that we did over the summer. Make sure to check out the videos from that. But taking the number 3 spot, we have the Intamin Multi-Launch Pantheon over at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Now, this roller coaster is just out of this world insane. Those launches are so much fun, and they are very intense. The LSM launch is a ton of fun. That first launch into the inversion is honestly one of our favorite moments of the ride. That inversion gives some of the best hang time we've ever had on a roller coaster in the world. Yes, that is a bold statement, but it's true. Following that, you twist around and then go into the swing launch, which is just so much fun. That airtime held during the launch track is one of the most intense airtime experiences we've had. You go through it so fast, and then you go through it backwards, and then you go through it forwards again up a super tall top hat. It is just a really, really, really good coaster that's beautifully designed, and it's buttery smooth because it is new generation Intamin. Speaking of which, the carts are incredible. The restraints are amazing, super fun. We love new generation Intamin restraints. Overall, just a great roller coaster. Now, barely missing out on the number 1 spot, taking the number 2 spot on our list, we have the incredible, the famous Steel Vengeance over at Cedar Point. Now, this hyper hybrid RMC roller coaster, first of its kind, is an experience that genuinely cannot be explained. It is a 2.5 minute long roller coaster just filled with intensity. It has the most airtime out of any roller coaster in the world, and that record has stayed true for it over the past 5 years. The drop is crazy. The 90 degrees is a ton of fun. Following that, you have some insanely large drawn out elements that are just super fun with really intense and floater airtime. Following that, you have a bunch of quick low to the ground ejector airtime moments that are also just as fun. And not to mention the inversions are incredible. It's got some great track work underneath the supports during the low to the ground section. And it's overall just a super fun and out of this world experience that cannot be beat by many other coasters that exist. Now, there might be coasters out there that are better, but there are very few that can come close to the type of feeling that you get from Steel Vengeance. But taking the number 1 spot, we have the one and only Velocicoaster. This has not changed from last year's ranking. Velocicoaster is still number 1 for us. Now, Velocicoaster is just genuinely an experience you cannot get on another roller coaster that exists in the world, with a couple reasons. The first being the layout itself is just phenomenal. It's very, very long with its double launch. It's got some great elements. The top out is incredible. The zero-G stall is great. Our personal favorite element is the Mosasaurus roll. It's got some weird things that happen in terms of forces when you're going through that, which feels awesome. And just the airtime throughout is great, and the elements are phenomenal. It's a really, really smooth coaster with the track work also being great. But the other things that add to this coaster that make it just that much better are the theming. The theming is so good. The carts look really cool. The scenery that you're traveling through looks awesome. It's just an overall extremely fun experience. You definitely see it and notice the theming throughout. The launch tracks are enclosed in like a cool zone. It's really, really fun. The theming is really well designed. And then the other part that makes this ride just so good is the queue. The queue is really well designed with the locker system, and it's just a really, really smart idea that more parks need to be doing. Also, the queue is really well designed and actually fun to wait in. It's got some great theming within the queue, and then the carts themselves are also very, very nice. Those seats, unlike Pantheon, are higher off the ground, which makes the airtime that much better, and it's just such a fun roller coaster. All of these factors combined definitely make it the number 1 roller coaster in the world for us, and we think that there aren't any other roller coasters that really can match this feeling. It's not to say that the coasters on this list don't come close to that, but a lot of them don't have that same mix of great thrill and great theming that Velocicoaster has, which is why we rank it number 1 out of every coaster we have ridden in the world. But that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this ranking. Make sure to comment down below whether or not you agree or completely disagree with our ranking. You might think Velocicoaster is the worst coaster in the world, but let us know down in the comments. I think that would be pretty crazy if you thought that, but who knows? But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss another update from World of Immersion. Also, make sure to check out our 2023 updated top 10 theme parks in the world that we just posted. That is going to give you a full in-depth ranking of some of the best theme parks we have visited. But that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one.